Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another explainer. Look, if you want to stay completely locked in on the most mind-blowing science and psychology out there, make sure you hit follow on the Inner Drive channel right now. Because today we are diving into a literal glitch in your own matrix. We are unraveling the absolute wildest paradox in human biology, why you have zero, and I mean literally zero memory of being a baby. Like, where did those files go? Did they get deleted? Did they ever even exist? Let's explore the architecture of oblivion. No cap, this explainer is going to break your brain a little bit, so get comfortable.
Okay, I want you to do something with me right now. Stop what you're doing, close your eyes for a second, and search your mind. Try to pull up your absolute earliest memory. Like, dig deep into the archives. What do you actually see? Is it a fuzzy, low-res snapshot of a birthday cake? Maybe just a random flash of a carpet pattern in your old living room? Chances are, if you try to rewind the tape of your life before you were 3 years old, you hit a total dark void, a complete dead end. It's like your internal hard drive just got corrupted, or someone went in and completely cleared your browser history. But why does this happen to literally every single human on Earth?
Back in 1905, Sigmund Freud was the first guy to call this childhood amnesia, but today, the scientists locked in the labs call it infantile amnesia. Listen to me, this isn't just you having a bad memory or some random brain fog. This is a systematic, biological inability of older kids and adults to recall any autobiographical memories from the first few years of life. It literally remains one of the most enduring, heavy-hitting mysteries in neurobiology. Think about it for a second. We learn to walk, to talk, to figure out gravity, and to form complex social bonds during this time. Our baby brains are clearly working overtime, absorbing massive amounts of data like a supercomputer. Yet the memory tape is totally blank. The files are gone. Let's figure out exactly why.
Chapter 1. The Black Hole of Memory. Let's get into the mechanics of what's actually going missing here, because it's not everything.
Look at this clear dividing line, because this is where the plot thickens. On the left side, we have implicit memory. This is your unconscious procedural stuff, survival skills, emotional reflexes, core vibes and beliefs about whether the world is safe based on how your caregivers treated you. You are literally born with this online. It's hardwired into your system to keep you alive. But look at the right side, explicit memory. This is the conscious, autobiographical stuff. The I was there, I am the main character, and this specific thing happened to me memories. Explicit memory depends heavily on a brain region called the hippocampus, and that hardware doesn't really mature until around age 2. So the massive takeaway here? We retain our implicit survival memories perfectly, but our explicit autobiographical memory completely drops off the map. It just gets ghosted.
Chapter 2. But babies do remember. Now, let's debunk a huge myth about baby brains.
You might just assume infants are walking around with broken memory recorders, right? Like their hardware is just too new and glitchy to save a file to the cloud. To prove this is totally false, we gotta look at Carolyn Rovey Collier's brilliant, if slightly chaotic experiment from the 1980s. Step 1. Researchers took 3-month-old babies, literally tiny infants, and tied a ribbon from their foot to a mobile hanging over their crib. Step 2. The infants quickly figure out the physics. They realize, if I kick my leg, the mobile shakes. They form a crystal clear, explicit memory of that action and reward. Step 3 is where it gets absolutely wild. A whole week later, they put those same babies back in the same crib with the same mobile, but no ribbon. What do? They immediately start kicking their legs. They remembered the highly specific context and the action. If the mobile looked even slightly different, they wouldn't kick. They were locked in on the details.
And this brilliantly illustrates Andrew Meltzoff's findings on deferred imitation, which takes it even further. This study showed 9-month-olds watching an adult do something totally novel and weird, like pushing a hidden button that makes a beep or shaking a plastic egg in a highly specific way. The adult does it, and the baby just sits there watching, quietly absorbing the data. Then, a full 24 hours later, the baby is handed the object, and boom, they imitate the exact action perfectly. No practice, no prompting. They held that explicit memory rent-free in their brain for a whole day. The record button is definitely being pressed, guys.
So, if the memories were successfully recorded in high definition, where did they go? Why did they get completely wiped from the server by the time we hit kindergarten? We are going to investigate 3 prime suspects to solve the ultimate neurological whodunit. Suspect 1, the biological wipe drive. Suspect 2, the cognitive mismatch. And Suspect 3, the missing anchor. Let's break these down one by one.
Chapter 3. Suspect 1. The wipes drive. This is happening deep inside your own skull right now.
Enter hippocampal neurogenesis.
When you are a baby, your brain is growing at an insane, exponential rate. It's building the physical infrastructure of you. The hippocampus, which we established is basically the brain's explicit memory hard drive, is pumping out massive amounts of new neurons. But here's the massive catch. The sheer volume of these new neurons being born essentially overwrites the earliest files. Think of it exactly like installing a massive new operating system update on your smartphone. To make room and optimize the new hardware, the system literally has to delete the oldest, least essential files to save storage space. Your baby brain is literally rewiring itself, and it is overwriting your first memories in the process. Your brain is doing a factory reset on your history.
And this brings us to a mind-blowing realization perfectly captured in this quote from the source material. The Neuroscience paradox suggests that infantile amnesia may be an adaptive evolutionary strategy rather than a biological flaw, a cleaning of the house. Guys, this was a massive paradigm shift in science. The crucial point here is that wiping the drive isn't a glitch in the matrix, it's a built-in feature. It massively reduces memory interference. Your brain is aggressively clearing out the clutter of early sensory noise so it can prioritize new, hypercritical learning like language and complex motor skills. It's an evolutionary delete button that keeps your brain running fast and efficient.
Chapter 4. Suspect 2. Lost in translation. Moving to our second suspect, we find a massive communication error.
Notice the heavy contrast here. On the left side, we have infant encoding. Babies don't have language yet, obviously. They encode memories purely through raw senses, visuals, sounds, and intense emotions. It is a totally pre-verbal vibe. But look at adult retrieval on the right side. By the time we are 3 or 4 years old, language completely takes over how we process the world. When you try to pull up a memory right now, you use words. Use linguistic cues to search your internal database. So you are essentially using a text-based search engine to look for an image-based file. They just don't match up. The memory might actually still be there, locked in a vault deep in your cortex, but you literally lost the translation key. You're typing in English, but the file is saved in pure sensory code.
Chapter 5. Suspect 3. Missing self. This is the psychological suspect, and it gets super deep. According to researcher Martin Conway's self-memory system, you literally cannot have autobiographical memory without an autobiography. You need a self first. The working self is defined here as a goal-sensitive system that controls access to your memory base and decides exactly what gets encoded and retrieved. Basically, the way you remember the past depends entirely on your sense of identity. If you don't have an identity yet, if you haven't hard-launched your personality, you can't log an event as something that happened to me. You're just experiencing things without a central protagonist.
And this diagram brilliantly illustrates that exact concept. Look at the self-memory system mapping. Notice the arrows. There is a constant bidirectional feedback loop between our episodic memory, the specific sensory images and events we experience, and our conceptual long-term self. They constantly feed into each other. Your memories build your personality, and your personality dictates exactly what kind of memories you pay attention to and save. But babies, they haven't booted up this system yet. They are basically NPCs in their own lives, just peacefully absorbing data until the main character finally logs on.
The absolute crucial point here is the concept of the self as an anchor. Think about this. Babies don't even recognize themselves in a mirror until they're about 2 years old. Before that mirror self-recognition hits, the idea of reflecting on an event as something which happened to me is a logical impossibility. They just experience the world as an endless stream of raw data. Without a fully formed self to act as a filing cabinet, those early episodic memories have nowhere to be organized. There is no anchor to tie the memory to, so it simply slips away into the void. It floats off because there was no you there to hold on to it.
Chapter 6. Forgetting to become you. Let's tie this all together and see how this builds your reality today.
This transition isn't an overnight switch. It's a slow burn. Look at the timeline. At birth, your implicit survival memory is fully online, keeping you alive. Between 3 to 9 months, you absolutely form explicit memories, like the baby's kicking the mobile, but neurogenesis aggressively overwrites them. Then, around age 2, massive milestones hit. You finally recognize yourself in the mirror, and language emerges. The main character has entered the chat. Finally, between ages 3 to 5, you have the language and the self-anchor to start successfully storing autobiographical memories. It is an incredible, complex scaffolding of biology, language, and selfhood, all coming together to build your conscious reality.
Which leaves us with a pretty profound realization. If our earliest experiences implicitly shape who we are, but our explicit minds cannot remember them, are we simply the ghosts of our forgotten infant selves? Remember slide 5? Your implicit memories, the deep feelings of safety, attachment, fear, those survived the wipe. They formed your core beliefs about how the world works. They are literally driving your behavior right now, today. So forgetting those early years wasn't a glitch. It was the very feature that cleared the way, allowing you to build the complex self you are right now. You don't remember being a baby, but that baby built you. That is wild to think about. Guys, if this explainer blew your mind as much as it blew mine, you need to hit follow on the Inner Drive channel right now. We decode the craziest science of the human mind every single week, and you don't want to miss it. Stay locked in, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.